Hello, this is Ben from the Academy of Gaming, Film and Animation, and we're following on to our third part of this series where we're looking at how we can model UV unwrap and texture a ball and chain, and now we're looking at how we can rig and animate this ball and chain. Okay, so we'll have a look a little bit later at simulations, but for now we're just going to use the traditional method that we've been looking at for the chest, where we rig up our ball and chain and get it all working. So the first few things I'm going to do is I'm going to have to make sure that all of the history has been deleted, so these inputs here or any kind of inputs into the channel transformation boxes, they all need to be cleared out. So the first thing I'm going to do is freeze transformations and delete history. And now, as you can see, those inputs are now all gone, so we're now free to do this. I'm also going to switch textures off by clicking on this little checker box up here, just so we can see things a little bit more clearly. And then I'm going to go to shading and go to X-ray joints, and that's just going to make things a lot easier for me to rig up this ball and chain. So I'm also going to go here to my side view, and yeah, we'll go with the side view here, and we'll go here to X-ray joints, just so we can see the joints when we're putting them in over the top of our mesh. So we're now going to go to rigging, and we're going to select our bone here. Now the first thing I'm going to do after I select the first bone here, is I'm going to actually go to the bone options here and just turn down all of my radius and length, just to make sure that when I'm putting this in here it's not too big and I can keep track of where everything is going to be. So I'm going to exit out of that now. I'm going to go to this view. I'm going to hold down the shift key and then press left click, and that's just going to keep it straight. So even if I, so it's just going to either lock it to straight down or straight across. So I'm going to have that there. So there's going to be this entire sort of first part here. So we're going to lock in this first link as if it's welded in. We're now going to go over to here. It's going to be this sort of link here. I'm going to go down to this point here, and that's going to be this chain here. That is going to be this chain. It's going to be this chain. And we're just going to work our way down. I'm trying to aim for the pivot point where the two link up, so that when it moves on those right spots here. And this is all going to be welded into this part here as well. So I'm just going to go all the way down to the bottom here, and we're just going to make these go to this same bone here. So anyway, we're going to now just start parenting these to all of these. Now I can use the shortcut here, P and Shift P, to parent and unparent, but I'm just going to keep this off just for visual sake for the people who are watching without sound. So I'm just going to go there to parent, and go there to parent. Then I'm just going to work my way down and just start parenting to all of the bones. And once I'm finished, I should be able to see all of the bones parented, or the meshes, sorry, the links parented to each of the bones. Now when we get multiple objects like this, we could combine them and then put them together, but the bone should be able to accurately predict that and everything. So we might move that down just a bit, just so it swings nicely on there. And obviously we're doing this bit by bit when we're animating it. So, you know, we move the whole sort of chain from this point here up, and then we slowly start sort of animating all the links in the chain. But I just wanted to go through that rigging part there. You can check it just by going here and then just going through each of the rigs and just sort of checking how they animate and everything. If you do notice something where you're like, I'm not too happy about where that kind of turns, you can just press D on the keyboard and then move this up to where you want it to be, and then that way you can pivot it from the correct position there and everything. Now Maya 2023 doesn't naturally inherit all the keyframes, so I'm going through to look at how we can fix that so that it does sort of auto keyframe all of these, because if I, for example, go S here to keyframe this and then go up to say 60 and then we auto keyframe it to there, it's working now, but sometimes it will only keyframe that and it will just leave the rest, and as you can see there's no keys on any of these other ones here, yet it is still animating. So that can be changed just in the preferences here, going to animation and just auto key. Having that on means that it just inherits down the chain as well. So now that you've finished rigging it, we want to try and put in a pendulum swing, just because that is one of the ones you have to have as a sort of standard. If you're doing animation, you're gonna want to have some sort of pendulum swing, just because you can show off a lot of the understandings about the principle of animation. With the auto key, you got to be careful because it does tend to auto into it and everything. So then there's that. Then we'll go down to this next link here. I always keyframe the first keyframe, even if it's already moving, just so that we've got a position for it to come back to. Otherwise, when you come back here, you'll find it crooked. So for example, if I go here and I go straight to 60 and I go, all right, yeah, I'm gonna have a bit of a swing there, and then keyframe it in, then when we come back, it's crooked. So you always want to, when you get to the start of the animation, put in that first keyframe by pressing S, and then move it across, and then have that there. So as we're sort of going along the chain, we're just trying to add in a little bit more of that sort of secondary sort of follow through animation, because obviously the ball has weight, so you know, it sort of swings up here. Also builds up a bit of anticipation as well, for when it starts reaching the top of that swing, just so we can see how much weight it has behind it. And then finally to there. And so now we just sort of have the very start of our animation, sort of going up and then coming down. Obviously, you're going to have to take your time with this, but I just wanted to show you how to do it, so then we can talk about the sort of techniques and the speed and the sort of how we can use those principles of animation to get a nice looking animation. But this video was really more of a technical video to demonstrate the tools more than it was a how-to guide, because I want you to actually do this for your speed animation today. So have fun. I hope you enjoy the sort of rigging tutorial, and you can start rigging up all different types of meshes for your animations.